It must be a boy thing. So many of us are so hopeless when it comes to our health. We'll suffer in silence rather than see a doctor. And when it comes to the plumbing, well, that's a total no-go area. Take the prostate, a very small organ that can cause very big problems. Yet a surprising number of men don't even know it exists, let alone what it does and what can go wrong down there. But there's no need to panic. Now there's amazing new high-tech wizardry, a simple blood test and a new campaign called Be a Man. Together, they might just save your life.
Hey, come on! Hey!
John Anderson feels right at home in the wide open spaces of Gunnedah in country New South Wales, mustering cattle with his family. Until recently, he was Australia's Deputy Prime Minister, but that troublesome male organ, the prostate, changed all that.
In 1992, I was in the United States of America, and one night I just felt all night long that I needed to go and relieve myself, but when I did, virtually nothing happened. And the level of discomfort, and I have to say the fatigue the next day, really did concern me.
Men aren't all that comfortable talking about their prostates. This small gland sits just below the bladder. Its only function is to make seminal fluid. Once a man finishes fathering children, it no longer serves any purpose. Urinary symptoms are often the first sign of a problem. You were possibly thinking, I could be facing cancer at 36 years of age.
Oh, when it first happened, yeah. That's why I say to men, I understand that if you're hit by something like this, it'll frighten the living daylights out of you. Thank you very much indeed.
For the past 12 years, John Anderson has carried out his duties without any hint of the struggle he's been having with his health.
This is my last official engagement.
But he's far from alone. Every man at some point in his life will have a problem with his prostate, and nearly 10% face serious complications. Men like Alan Pease.
It's about that big, the size of a walnut, tiny little thing that most blokes don't know about, and I never did. And I guess if I hadn't had it out, well, I'd be dead.
And musician Pete Wells.
If I knew then what I know now, I would have picked it up. But I mean, I don't know nothing about it. I mean, I didn't even know I had one, what it was.
You're a warm.
John Anderson considers himself lucky. His condition is not life-threatening. It's called prostatitis, the inflammation of the prostate, but it is extremely painful and can seriously affect your quality of life.
Shows you've got character. You've got plenty of that.
Wife Julia has watched the condition slowly wear her husband down.
John has for years been very tired, and he's just kept going, and he's now at the stage where he's physically very tired.
I have had high levels of discomfort, particularly in the evenings, and often when I'm flying. They seem to be the things that blight me. And the problem with not being able to sleep is that it is cumulative.
I think he's done the prostatitis sufferers out there a big favour by allowing the community to be aware about this condition, because it's never been talked about in public before.
Professor Tony Costello is one of Australia's leading urologists. He specialises in the treatment of prostate conditions, including prostate cancer and prostatitis.
Now that's a really difficult condition to treat. It's chronic.
Is it stress-related?
It is stress-related. And often I've seen a lot of patients with high profile in the community who have this condition, and they've had to step back in their profession to look after their own health.
Author Alan Pease is very much alive and kicking. By rights, he should be dead. 5 years ago, at the age of 48, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer. It was a total shock because, like so many other men, he had no idea that he even had a prostate.
I never heard of it, and most of my friends had never heard of it. I thought prostate meant you lay down on the floor.
That's prostrate.
And most guys call it prostrate. They don't know what it is.
The problem with prostate cancer is that there are no real symptoms until it spreads beyond the prostate, and that's when it can kill you. Alan had a particularly aggressive form of the cancer. It was picked up by a procedure called the PSA, a simple blood test that measures protein level. So the PSA test saved your life?
If I hadn't done the PSA, I would be dead. I could not have survived the aggressiveness of this cancer that I had.
Every year, prostate cancer kills as many men as breast cancer kills women. Yet, while the Cancer Council of Australia actively encourages women to regularly check themselves, controversially, it so far failed to support screenings for prostate cancer until long-term studies are completed.
I think we have enough evidence to say men should go talk to their doctor and get tested if that's their wish.
It's an absolute tragedy that over 2,500 men in Australia die each year from this disease. That's brothers, fathers.
Andrew G is speaking out about prostate cancer. So is Magda Zubanski. Her dad has the disease. They're both supporting the Be a Man campaign.
Be like my dad.
It'll be launched later this month with one simple message. If you have any doubts or questions, talk to your doctor. Now, I never thought I'd be interviewing Magda about prostate cancer.
No, well, I don't have it myself.
But why did you embrace the Be a Man campaign?
Well, because my dad has had prostate cancer and he's had really great treatment, and it seems sort of obvious. And with any of that stuff too, it's not purely a personal issue. It does affect all the people around you. Like with my dad, you know, it affects our whole family. And we all care about him and want him to go on living as good a life. I want him around for a very long time because he's a good bloke and I would miss him.
What's your message to men?
Don't be a pussy. Go and get the check.
Every woman will talk to you about breast cancer. You see it on the TV, you see it in the papers because women talk about it. As men, we try and avoid it because it's all sort of down there stuff, which we'd rather avoid.
So how do we change that mindset?
Education's a way to do it.
Until now, many men have been turned off seeking treatment, including surgery, because of the side effects. Impotence and incontinence are common. But now there's new technology that doctors hope will change that. It looks and is amazingly high-tech. This robot was developed by the US Defence Forces and NASA. Now it's at the front line of prostate surgery and part of the scientific race to find the best treatment with the least side effects.
It's more precise. Hand movements are more precise and the vision system is much better.
Professor Costello introduced the robot to prostate surgery in Australia. Sitting at this console, he operates the miniature arms by remote control. A tiny camera is inserted through a keyhole and images from inside the abdomen are magnified 10 times. Because the robot hands are so accurate, there's less chance of cutting nerves that can leave men impotent. How about his sexual function? Will that return?
It may or may not. We can't guarantee the return of erections, but what I tell patients, and I've been criticised for saying it, but you can't have sex in a coffin.
Just over 2 hours later, and the prostate is removed. Professor Costello is confident all the nerves have been spared.
This is the prostate. This is the organ that causes all the problems for men when they get beyond 40.
So hopefully this gentleman on the table behind us will lead a pretty good life.
Hopefully that's it. That's the end of the cancer story.
Alan Pease is proof that there is life and sex after prostate cancer. When we first met him and his wife Barbara 3 years ago, he'd been through hormone therapy, radiation treatment and had his prostate removed. Back then, Alan was experimenting with ways to kickstart his love life.
That sort of gives you visions of erections beyond belief, doesn't it, really, when you think of it?
It does.
Now, is the penis pump still, I don't want to be cheeky, but is it still around? Or?
Oh, we still got it.
We don't use it.
No,
We don't need to use it anymore.
Diagnosis and treatment have kept the spring in Alan's step, but left too late, prostate cancer will kill. So you had a PSA test when you came home?
Yeah.
And what was the reading?
It was like 800 or something ridiculous. It was like the world record.
58-year-old Pete Wells is slide guitarist for Rose Tattoo. 3 years ago, a visit to his doctor revealed he had prostate cancer that was so widespread, not even surgery could help.
That's the point about the bloody thing is that if you got it early, if I got it early, like I got it a year or 6 months early or something, it would have saved an awful lot of inconvenience, I can tell you. You know, pain, misery and the rest of it, you know. So the trick is to get it early. I mean, they can fix this damn thing.
Pete's cancer has spread to his bones. He's in constant pain and isn't strong enough to tour anymore. Playing the guitar is good therapy. Friends like Angry Anderson and Billy Thorpe are also there for him.
Pete's not the only person I know that's had problems with it in the last few years. Mainly because my generation, I mean, I turn 60 next year, you know.
Get away.
I do. And,
you never.
I do. And, you know, most of, I mean, the leading edge of the boomer generation is going with me. So, you know, within 4 or 5 years, there's going to be some plenty of old farts out there, and they should be dealing with this now. They should be looking at it. If you've never had a prostate examination, you should definitely have one.
Have you had a PSA test?
Yes.
It was a roll call of rockers. With mounting medical bills, Pete Wells is close to being broke. So his mates have rallied around and will soon stage a benefit concert to ease the financial pain.
What it does for Pete, which is, you know, the really, really important thing, is it allows him to know and realise how loved he is and how valued he is, and you know that, you know, when the shit hits the fan, your mates are there to help you out.
Just keep still. I'll move you to one side a little bit.
It's very, very heartwarming and very, you get teary about it, you know. You think, well, people do give us stuff, so it's good, you know.
4 little ducks went out one day over the hills and far away.
There is life after prostate cancer. Just look at Alan Pease. He's become a dad. Earlier this year, little Brandon was born, a miracle baby for him and Barbara. So he's a little IVF baby?
Yeah, he was made in a dish, but he was made with love.
More kids coming your way, do you think, or is it all over?
Well, no, it's not over yet. He's got a twin sister, because in the same batch there were 2 eggs that were fertilised, and she's in the fridge. I feel like I'm starting my life all over again, which is great because I've got new goals, new objectives, the same sort of things I had when I was 20 years old.
Well, I've got to keep that. Yeah, look at this. Ford Australia, 2000. There's some magnificent photos in here.
Here you are as acting Prime Minister again on your second last day in the job.
Yeah, so the old saying, you know, one day rooster, the next a feather duster, you know, from acting Prime Minister to backbencher.
You'll be right. John Anderson is looking forward to a new, relaxed life and a good night's sleep. So you won't miss all these aeroplanes?
Oh, look, I think there might be moments when I will, but essentially no, I won't.
Well, one thing that won't miss it is your prostate.
No, well, that's right.
Back home with his family on the farm, our former Deputy PM is enjoying his favourite part of the world. This very private man has no regrets that he went public about his prostate.
Men need to talk about these things. If they think they've got a problem, go and seek some medical advice. You may be like me and be very relieved to know it's not life-threatening. You may have something more serious. It could be cancer, but in that case you're still better off knowing about it and trying to deal with it.